What's going on, fish folk? Those y'all new to my channel here, my name's Austin, and this is Fintastic Freaks, and this surrounding me is the Fishroom. My wife and I went to a fish swap over in Davenport, Iowa, namely the Quad City Fish Swap. And while the weather definitely hindered the overall glory that it traditionally is, hence also why I didn't make an actual video of the convention itself, it was still an event where we came home with a lot of great things and met a lot of cool people. For those of you that do want to see what we saw at that convention there last weekend, you can check it out with the link to the live stream up here somewhere. But nonetheless, we still came home with some great things and wanted to show some of those things off here, as well as give some Fishroom updates here, as you'll notice that we definitely had to call some audibles here on a few things here. Little change in plan in some things here, but you'll see it as we go along here in the video. Without further ado, folks, let's get to the fish. And the first tank we'll showcase in this video is the 38 gallon, which is definitely looking a lot different than the last time we looked at it. The fish inside are looking pretty different too. Those definitely aren't Amazon puffers anymore, as you'll clearly see here. Instead, we have a bunch of assorted young goldfish in here now. The 38 gallon was empty momentarily, as we did go ahead and upgrade the Amazon puffers. We'll talk a little bit about that later in this video, but one of the things we brought home from the Quad City Fish Swap was these assorted goldfish of different sorts of fantails with all sorts of different colors. We also have some young Shabunkin goldfish in here, or at least that's what they were labeled as. We'll see if that stands true. But long story short, yes, we have about 8 young little goldfish that are anywhere from about 1.5 inches to 2.5, 3 inches in here. 3 might be stretching it a bit. And full disclosure, this was not something I was looking for while at the swap here. My list was actually pretty short, to be honest here. But to those of you that do not know, my wife, Mrs. Freak, has a very soft spot for goldfish, and not gonna lie, every time the more and more I look at them, they kind of grow on me too. Definitely gonna grow just as fast there too, as we all know. Goldfish, they eat like little pigs, and these guys have been no exception to the rule. The fantails, as well as the potential Shabunkins over here, or at least that's what we believe. Shabunkins obviously can grow quite large, well over a foot. The fantails can still grow anywhere between 6 to 8 inches, as a lot of y'all already know. So the 38 here will definitely stand for a decent home for a while. It definitely beats the bucket that they got transported home here in, for sure. But alas, the goldfish don't stop there. We move over to our 46 bow front, where yes, you'll notice we don't have 3 in here now. We got 5 goldies inside this bow front tank now. One of the newbies being right there. Beautiful whites, orange, little bit of black in his finch, which I think is a beautiful combination. Chances are it probably won't stick around with that certain coloration, but I guess we'll see. The other one there, behind the plant there, is another Oranda fantail. They're both Oranda fantails, as a matter of fact. In the end, you might even recall, actually, those two, unlike the young ones that we got over there, these two are actually just given to us. If you actually go back and watch the stream while we were at the convention, you can actually recall and see the moment of, yeah, the vendor was, I guess he was just probably packing up, and those vendors usually don't want to bring any more fish back home than they don't have to, so he saw an opportunity, knew my wife loved goldfish, saw an opportunity to get rid of them, and yeah, here we are. Now this 46 bow, I mean, I thought it was all right with 3, but now we got 5, so probably gonna add a bigger sponge in here. We only got a 40 gallon grade in here right now. Fortunately, we got the Emperor 300 all, so keeping it in check here, but might add a bigger sponge there and maybe even a second one over there to try to keep the biocycle intact here for main part. Not that it's really in danger of tipping even right now as is, but you know, it never can be too safe, these things. But yeah, probably gonna do an upgrade for the goldfish in general, these guys as well as the other ones that we saw here earlier, but best to keep them separate right now, because obviously the little guys right now, chances are it wouldn't go very well for them. Way too early to mix the two here right now, but I think we might have to make a giant little goldfish aquarium, like a complex. I don't know, maybe like a pond or something. Got a few different ideas in my head. Definitely stay tuned for that. I got a few ideas, because in the end, we're definitely gonna have to come up with something a little bit bigger here. Having all these goldfish, I must say, was not initially the plan, but the way I look at it, you know what? The wife loves them, and like I say, they grow on me here too. So, you know, hey, if it gives my wife a couple of tanks that she loves here, and I get to do everything else down here that I want, and keeps her happy, I say it's a good deal.
Good answer.
But as we said earlier, with the 38 now being full of baby goldies, what went down with the Amazon puffers? As you'll recall, our original plan was to put the Amazons in one of our new 75s back here. And as great of a plan as that was, something else came up here that made us do a slight change in plan here. But speaking of upgrades on the bottom 75, you'll notice our Exodon Tetras have gone ahead and gotten settled into their new home here. Definitely looks a lot different than that 55 did here, but still carried over all their grapevine wood and all that, as well as I believe that's a lace rock over there. Decided to stick with the pea gravel look on there. I just think it's a little different than what I've done in a lot of my other tanks. Obviously, with a lot of the other fish that I tend to keep, sand is a better option. So mixing it up here a little bit with the pea gravel, and they are definitely a fish that are not going to mind too much. They don't ever like to wallow in the sand. They like to swirl around and stay on the move. Much like a 55, it's still the 4 feet side to side, but I tell you what, yeah, some people may think that 6 inches may not be that much of a difference when it comes in the tank. Well, in terms of aquascape, as you can see, that is not the case. It doesn't look totally barren here. Definitely might need to get something on the background there, hide up all the cords. It's definitely not very photogenic, at least. Thinking might also get some more wood in here. Once upon a time thought about putting plants in there, but the problem is every time I put plants in here, these guys just go crazy on it, and you know, I'm glad it keeps them happy, glad it makes them healthy and such, but there's other way to put vegetation in their diet than you know, keep trying to decorate the tank here with different swords, ferns, and val and such, and just for it to end up being a very expensive salad for them. Definitely I'll add some more woods in here. I don't know, maybe we'll add some more rock in here as well. It's really, really cool to just see them weave through the wood and all that. They're still kind of getting used to the new tank here, but I think they're already really loving the fact that they got a little more space just to swim around and do their thing. So as I'm sure some of you would think, that means the Amazons were just put in the top 75 here, right? Change of plans. Back where the Exodons once upon a time were, well, for years before they were moved in that 75 we just looked at, they were inside this 55-gallon tank, which is also looking pretty different compared to what it was. It's weird not seeing the wood in here anymore, but it's also kind of weird because now the Amazon puffers are zipping around in here. Since our 75s are now occupied by other fish, I still wanted to go ahead and give an upgrade to these Amazon puffers. And while it may not be as big of an upgrade as like a 38 to a 75, the 38 there to a 55 is still a decent upgrade because, one, as you can see, it's a little bit taller, which is a minor aspect in terms of the dimensions. But the bigger dimension here of interest is that it's an extra foot of side-to-side space here. It's still that 1 foot front to back here, but for a puffer that only grows between 4 to 6 inches here, 1 foot front to back here is still a good amount of space there. Still thinking I might go ahead and bump them to a 75 here later down the road, but this 55, like I say, it's still a good upgrade for them, giving them extra swim space, which in the end was our main goal. Wanted to give them more space, and the 55 still accomplishes that. But you will also see on the bottom here, which is less than ideal, definitely, this is still the gravel that was there back when the Exodons were here, partially because I just wanted to get the Amazons out of the way and out of the 38 here to make room for the young goldies. Somewhere down the road, I will get rid of the gravel here because in the end, it's still not ideal for these Amazons here. It is going to be much better looking once we get sand in there because in the end, sand for any kind of puffer is just a better idea because we certainly don't want our guys to get scratched up here. But didn't want to do too much at once here. I felt like moving them from a tank to here, and especially if we got rid of all that gravel and stirred up all that dirt and such that's under there, which could potentially even spike the parameters if we did such back then, decided, you know what, let's take this in small steps. Let's just get the fish in here, get them used to having more space in here, and then, you know, maybe a month or so down the road, we'll go ahead and eliminate the gravel here and give them the sandy substrate that works a lot better with these guys. So if the Amazons aren't in this tank back there, what is? I promise I will tell you, but honestly guys, what's inside this tank here is probably worth a video of its own. So that's what we're gonna do. Oh, come on! That and the fish are still a little timid, still getting a little used to their tank here yet, and not quite ready to put them on camera here yet. But in the next video, promise, we'll go check it out. But not too far away from that tank, around the corner here, past the Queen's quarters as well here, we'll give a little update on Finley's plywood tank here, which is definitely looking pretty good here as well. The stand here, as you can see, it is mostly done. The legs, everything, the top part here, it's pretty much all squared away and done here. The only thing that I guess is really left to do with the stand here, I am going to put at least like a 1/2 inch thick piece of plywood underneath here. It's not going to be the actual piece of plywood that goes to the bottom of the tank here. We'll put a separate sheet on top of that one. But I am going to put a sheet of plywood on here to cover all of this. What that'll do is also help distribute more of the weight out here and such, because again, this tank is going to be about 300 gallons once we fill it up. Little run through of how I did it here. Just like the stand here as well, everything here, it's all 2x4s right now, including the cross beams and supports here as well, the legs. As you'll see and remember in other videos, we made the outer leg a little taller so we could have this part sink down and rest on like a little shelf deal here. What this shelf, as you'll recall, does, it'll hold more of the weight on part of that leg there as well, instead of just putting it all on the screws, which we still use plenty of screws. 6 on this side, and then I still went ahead and, as you saw, put 3 on this side because, again, in the end, with screws and glue here, like I say, we're gonna build the heck out of this thing. It's gonna be a tank of a tank before it's done. Plenty more updates yet to come on this thing here as we start building this thing on up here and get to the tank part. I'm sure we'll have another live stream or two as we follow along with that, if you're interested in those as well. But bit by bit, this thing's coming along as well. But this here will wrap up. We'll call it part 1 of the new fish reveal here. As I said, obviously we'll see what's in that other 75 here in the next one. There's some other fish down here that we also got from the swap, as well as some other things here that we'll show off quick in the next video as well, that are still kind of getting used to their new tanks here and don't want to show them off until they're fully settled in and strutting their stuff in their full glory. But guys, let me know what you think about the new fish here and what we did see. What's your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this little fish room update, fish reveal video, let me know by giving this video a thumbs up. And if you're new here and have not done so already, consider clicking that subscribe button as well as that little bell down there, as well to stay in the loop with everything I do. More fish room updates such as this, more coming up on the plywood tank there for Finley here coming up, and more conventions here coming up down the road as well. And I promise we will also get a video later on this year on the Quad City Fish Swap. Again though, because of the weather and all the wintry weather that Iowa tends to offer in the middle of January, very commonly, half the vendors unfortunately did not make it, and again, did not want to make a video on this that's, you know, showing tables half empty, because in the end, that's not what this swap is about. I've seen this swap in its full heyday, its full glory, and once we get better weather to where all our vendors can make it and such, I want to show you all that, because when everyone does get there and it is to its normal terms, it's pretty sweet. But as always, thank you for watching this video and all the support you guys give me. It's greatly appreciated. Special shout out to all the members for their little extra support out there. I will see you all in the next video, Fish Fam. As always, stay fantastic.